now my great pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker for 2012. Dr. Elsa Núñez is the president of Eastern Connecticut State University and has been so for the last 6 years. Prior to that, she was vice chancellor for the entire University of Maine system. And prior to that, she was a vice president or vice chancellor at Lesley University, at Wheelock College, and City University of New York. She has had a distinguished career at each of those institutions, building programs, student success, capital. She also is very much a national figure in higher education, has been a member of the boards of the American Council on Education, the Council for Higher Education Accreditation, the Teacher Education Accreditation Council, and more other boards than you will want me to take the time to mention. But she's also been chair of the New England Association of Schools and Colleges, the accrediting body for all New England higher education. Dr. Núñez by training is a linguist, but much of her attention really has focused on success of Hispanic American populations in America, the author of a publication Pursuing Diversity and many talks and writings. And she has gotten interested recently in the successes of Heritage University. And as I've talked with her, she wonders if we don't have here a possible model for addressing challenges in rural education. Without any further ado, it's my great pleasure to introduce to you Dr. Elsa Núñez.
Thank you, John. I don't like long introductions because there's a correlation between a long introduction and age. So I'm grateful, John, that it wasn't too long. I would like to say thank you to President John Bassett for inviting me to be with you today for Heritage University's 2012 commencement exercises. Para mí es un placer estar aquí brindando y compartir un día tan maravilloso y en el éxito de todos los estudiantes. Muchísimas gracias. I'm delighted to be with the class of 2012 and with your families and friends. I'm also honored to share the dais with the members of the board, with Mr. Salam, with Reverend McLeod, as well as all the university administrators and other members of the platform party. I was especially touched this morning that I had the honor and privilege of meeting Sister Kathleen Ross, who has left a legacy here at Heritage University. President Bassett is a very respected member of the higher education community who has made a mark at the national level in many ways in this country. But one of his most important contributions was being president of Clark University, which is one of New England's premier private baccalaureate colleges. You are very fortunate to have him here at Heritage. The fact that he chose to come to Heritage University is a testament to this very special institution. John, thank you for inviting me today to give the commencement address. I see that you're celebrating your 30th commencement exercises today. People say you're 30 years old. I say you're 30 years young. That is a relatively short period of time to be a college or university in this great country. Harvard started in 1636. I'm very impressed with all that you have accomplished in that time, and I'm especially impressed with what you're doing today. The vision that Violet Lumley and Martha Yallop had to provide a college education to people who are isolated geographically, isolated socially, and challenged economically is being realized in a very profound way here at Heritage. It is quite impressive. You have a very special education mission in Yakima Valley, providing access, opportunity, and career-focused education that is very much needed in Central Washington. You are, as I have told many of the board members that I met last night and today, you are a private university with a public mission. With 2/3 of the jobs in this nation requiring some form of college education today, you are not only serving the students who study here, you are helping to maintain the quality of life and economic viability of the region. To every business person that's here today, I say Heritage University is an economic engine in the region. I see many similarities between your university and mine. Like Eastern, you are committed to providing research opportunities to undergraduates, including special programs for minority students. Like Eastern, your students are finding experimental opportunities to go out into the community and practice what they've learned in the classroom, such as the students in the Free Enterprise Program. And like Eastern, you are committed to helping your students with financial support so they can afford this first-class education. As much as I am impressed by Heritage University, I am equally impressed with you, the students. You have a richly diverse student body with members from the Yakama Nation and other Native American tribes. The Latino community is well represented, and students from other ethnic groups. You also have non-traditional students and students who arrived at Heritage by virtue of their grit, their determination, and their GED. I applaud all of you hardworking students. I understand that William Gates Sr. was a keynote speaker last month at Convocation. Those are big shoes for me to follow, but I must tell you that back on the East Coast, where my university is, there are many signs of progress being made as a result of Mr. Gates, his son Bill Jr., and their daughter and his daughter-in-law Melinda Gates. They are doing a world-class effort to improve higher education in this country. You're blessed to have such a fine model of philanthropy right here in Washington. I know that Mr. Gates spoke about the importance of being engaged in your local community. As he put it, give back what you can whenever you can. I can see Heritage is also very focused on serving the local community. I note your nursing students providing volunteer medical services, your social work students working with the developmentally disabled, and the visual arts students assisting local nonprofits. I applaud all that you do as students and as newly college-educated people. You are doing everything you can to improve the quality of life in Yakima Valley. At this time, I would like to acknowledge and ask the class, the graduating class, to congratulate the members of the faculty and the staff who got you here. Congratulations. Without the help of the faculty and staff, the students know this effort would not have accomplished what they have accomplished. Graduates, help me this morning say thank you to those of you who have helped them be successful to reach this impressive achievement today. So I'm going to ask people to stand, and we're going to thank you for what you've done for these graduates. With the parents and grandparents of the students, please stand. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Will the spouses, partners, brothers, sisters please stand? Thank you, thank you. Will the aunts, uncles, and cousins please stand? Thank you, thank you. And will the friends of all the graduates please stand? Yeah, thank you to all of you, thank you to all of you. Today, we recognize more than 300 graduates at Heritage, half of them receiving either a Bachelor of Arts or a Master of Arts in Education. I am sure the local school districts at Washington State will be well served by virtue of the commitment to education that Heritage is known for. We also have nursing graduates today, as well as graduates in the sciences, in the social work and business areas. Congratulations to all of you as you embark on the next chapter in your lives. Regardless of the path you have chosen, each of you has come to the crossroads today. It is both a day of closure and, as we say, a day of new beginnings. But it is principally a day of celebration. It is a joyous day, un día para celebrar. Therefore, I'm going to keep my comments brief to ensure that most of our time is focused on today's graduates, as it should be, but I do have a few thoughts to share with the graduates. Many years ago, I received a letter in the mail, and it was a set of facts about geese. It was called The Lessons That You Could Learn from Geese. I looked at it, and it seemed silly, and to some of you, it may seem silly. But I suspect there are many of you in the audience today who also know that we humans can learn so much from other species. These facts were written in an outward-bound letter that I received, and I would like to share them with you today because I have used them throughout my life as a faculty member and administrator. I often stop what I'm doing at my desk and I reread their wisdom to remind me. I especially wanted to share with them when I discovered that 5 miles south of here in the Tuppenish Nation National Wildlife Refuge, stretching about 27 miles across the valley in the heart of the Yakima Reservation, there you have this fantastic wildlife refuge. As a core habitat and major breeding ground for ducks and Canadian geese, the refuge and the entire valley are part of the Pacific Flyway. No doubt you see major flocks of geese during this migratory season. The refuge is a prime habitat for wintering waterfowl like ducks and geese. So perhaps learning lessons from a flock of geese is not something new to the people gathered here today. Here are those lessons I have learned and would like you to consider for your future. Fact number 1, as each goose in a flock flaps its wing, it creates an uplift for the birds that follow. By flying in a V formation, the whole flock adds 71% greater flying range than if each bird flew alone. What's the lesson? Lesson number 1. People who share a common direction and sense of community can get where they are going quicker and easier because they are traveling in the thrust of one another. Fact 2, when a goose falls out of formation, it suddenly feels the drag and the resistance of flying alone. It quickly moves back into formation to take advantage of the uplifting power of the bird immediately in front of it. What's the lesson? Lesson number 2. If we have as much sense as a goose, we stay in formation with those headed where we want to go. We should be willing to accept their help and give help to others. Fact number 3. When the lead goose tires, it rotates back into the formation and another goose flies the point of position. Lesson number 3, it pays to take turns doing the hard tasks and sharing leadership. As with geese, people are independent on each other's skills, capabilities, and unique arrangements of gifts, talents, or resources. So it is important that you share leadership. Fact number 4, the geese flying in formation honk to encourage those up front to keep their speed. What's the lesson? Lesson number 4, we need to make sure our honking is encouraging, always encouraging. In groups where there's encouragement, production is much greater. The power of encouragement to stand by one's core values and encourage those core values of others is the quality of honking we should seek. Fact number 5, when a goose gets sick, wounded, or shot down, 2 geese drop out of formation and follow it down to protect it. They stay with it until it dies or is able to fly again. Then, independently, they launch out with another formation or catch up to the original flock. What's the lesson? Lesson number 5. If we have as much sense as geese, we will stand by others in difficult times as well as when they are strong. So how do these lessons apply to each of us? In addition to finding a good job after graduation and supporting yourself and your family, you have a responsibility to help others. With the privilege of being a college graduate, responsibility will come to you. It's here today. You have to positively affect this great American society. It is your responsibility to protect what we have built in this country. Do not forget, my friends, that just as wealth is inherited, poverty is inherited too. There is a cause out there with your name on it, whether it's helping out at your local preschool, volunteering on Habitat for Humanity project, or working within a homeless shelter, there is a cause for each of you. You will find a way to make a personal contribution. There are many people I could hold up to you today as models for making your own personal contribution to the world. Many of you have thought, as I was speaking, of Martin Luther King, Robert Kennedy, Cesar Chavez, Sandra Day O'Connor. But your tendency, as mine, is always to say, well, there's only one Martin Luther King and there's only one Nelson Mandela. That's true, but you don't have to be a world leader to make a difference. These individuals use the lessons from the geese to create a change in this world. Quite simply, they worked in teams and understood the power of moving in one direction while supporting the work of others. Anthony Friedman, in his book, Writing for the Visual Media, describes the classic movie, It's a Wonderful Life. Jimmy Stewart starred in that movie. And he declared that the moral of the movie is that each individual life counts and affects the lives of others. In other words, the universe is affected by our individual existence. Individual destiny is universal destiny. Yes, one person can make an enormous difference, even if it is in a local setting. I would like to tell you an amazing story about a woman who demonstrated what a person can do when they feel moved to try to help others. The lessons from the geese served her well. Her name is Hanley Denny. She was 22 years old, had graduated from the University of Maine, and took a trip. She decided to go to Guatemala. She was visiting Guatemala 15 years ago on vacation. She came upon a situation that she simply could not walk away from. What she saw sitting in a bus, on a tour bus, moved her so much that she was immovable for minutes. More than 6,000 people, Guatemalans, were living near a 35-acre city dump in Guatemala City. The children, the mothers, the fathers were daily rummaging through the garbage and the decay to find something they could eat or something they could sell. The methane gas was so bad that the children's hair was red-orange. Every child had red-orange hair. Dogs that were diseased were patrolling the areas. Gangs had guns and were in the area trying to get things from the dump. She sat down, not believing what she saw. She sobbed, and with weak knees, she got back on the bus. She went to Maine, and after 6 months, she told her family she couldn't live in Maine anymore. She couldn't live the way she had after what she had seen. She was transformed. She went back to Guatemala City, and for 10 years, Denny worked tirelessly to bring hope and sustenance to the people of the dump. In Spanish, she became known as El Ángel del Basurero, which means the angel of the dump. She created an organization called Safe Passage, and together with other organizations that she organized in all of Guatemala, she was able to bring health services, education, and support to the people who she had given her life to. She established a school in an abandoned church, and the school now serves 500 children. In her 10-year span, with every organization she could mobilize in Guatemala, she cleaned it up, and the people living in squalor went from 6,000 to 1,500. An amazing legacy of an amazing woman who was 22 years old when she started and a college graduate just like you. Like the geese, she worked in common direction with a community who needed her desperately. Like the geese, she helped them. And like the geese, she accepted their help in return so she could build a great team. Like the geese, she organized the group according to the skills they had, many of which she did not have. Like the geese, they encouraged each other day after day, even when the goal looked impossible. My friends, they honked and they honked. And like the geese, they stood by each other as they turned around the living conditions for literally thousands of poor people. She applied the lessons of the geese, and it worked amazingly well. Yes, one person can make a difference, yet as much as one person can have an amazing impact on the world, when we bring a team of people together, even greater good can occur. In the words of the late Senator Robert Kennedy, he said, "Each time a man stands up for an idea, or acts to improve the lot of others, or strikes out against injustice, he sends forth a tiny ripple of hope. And crossing each other from a million different centers of energy, and daring, those ripples build a current which can sweep down the mightiest of oppression and resistance." As you go out into the workforce and forge on your own way, find new ways to serve your local community beyond your workplace. Be a Little League coach, a member of a school board, serve in a soup kitchen, serve poor people in any way you can. If you go into business, make money, but strive to become a great leader and manager who connects to your community. If you go into healthcare, I challenge you to provide the best care you can to your patients. If you go into education, work to inspire each student that you teach. If you go into technology, create ideas that provide useful and valuable solutions. Whatever you do, graduates, and wherever you go in life, give it your all, and always remember the lessons from the geese. They will empower you to succeed because you will see the good in working as a team with others to achieve your dreams and affect the change for the good of others. God bless you and good luck.